Hi, we're Team Privates and we're here to talk to you today about privacy. As technology rapidly develops and our lives become increasingly more online, privacy has become a very controversial topic. Concerns about privacy have started different discussions and new laws and regulations all over the world. Today, we're going to talk to you about the differing opinions regarding online privacy, big data, data mining, and show you some real examples of online privacy issues today. First off, what is privacy? Privacy refers to the rights of the individual in terms of collection, storage, processing, distribution, and use of personal information. Privacy is a civil rights issue with an abundance of differing opinions. It proves to be very controversial as countries have handled the issue in different ways. Let's take a look at how different nations have appointed systems, laws, or policies to show how they've responded to the privacy of their citizens. For instance, let's start with something familiar and take the census in Australia. Name, sex, age, ancestry, religious affiliation, schooling, children, income, employment, housing costs, number of bedrooms? The questions can get pretty personal. The Australian Bureau of Statistics promises the security and confidentiality of your information. But the fact remains that you are divulging your own personal information to be stored in a database at the risk of a hefty fine. The information will be studied and potentially used for the sake of shaping future policies, not to mention the reality of information leaks. This is one of the reasons why privacy advocacy groups have been against this method of data collection. Now let's widen our scope to the international scale. Why is privacy such a controversial issue? The UN Human Rights Council recognizes that there is a lot to gain from sacrificing privacy. For example, they recognize that information communication technologies are making advancements that improve real-time communication and information sharing on a global scale, making it easier to amplify your voice and help expose any abuse. But the UN General Assembly expresses deep concern at the negative impacts that surveillance and interception of communications may have on human rights. So they've passed an International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ratified by 167 states, to protect citizens from unlawful interference with their privacy and unlawful attacks on their honour and reputation. A pertinent example of an international controversy is the global surveillance regarding the National Security Agency, or the NSA. The NSA is collecting almost 5 billion cell phone records a day to determine the locations of individuals and where they travel in the world, even if they're not suspected of any illegal activity. Knowing the location of a cell phone user allows for the determination of the user's identity, who the user communicates with, and who the user meets. So privacy is a very important and sensitive topic, even on an individual level. Some individuals are carefree and have nothing to hide. Others might have nothing to hide but still don't want to bear it all. So let's talk about examples of how our privacy can be affected in today's technological age. Data mining is a multi-step process consisting of acquiring and formatting data, setting goals or hypotheses, analyzing acquired data to gain insight, and interpreting the results of the data. Data mining is an analytics-based approach to business that can be used to gain statistical insight, which better allows businesses to improve their return on investment. A fairly simple example of data mining would be where a supermarket chain records the contents of shopping baskets at checkout. This allows them to find groups of items that are purchased together. Shops could now group these products together or find a more effective way of shelving items in order to gain greater revenue. Data mining, whilst allowing us to pick up patterns and gain value, can also be used negatively. Data miners can piece together information from social media sites like Facebook or other online sources and create consumer profiles which infringe on certain privacies. Data miners can piece together information from public profiles, forming a pattern or a data set which can then be applied to other social network users in order to establish information about them. This represents a privacy issue, as personal information that the user may want to remain anonymous could be revealed. Consumer profiling is a direction many businesses are taking with data mining. Knowledge is a key asset to understanding the customer's demands in the market, and data mining is the process for obtaining this knowledge. Social media platforms are generally the most successful consumer profiling tools, and often work in unison with other businesses to form a trade for the information and data collected on social media. The advantages of consumer profiling include approaching customers with relevant advertising to benefit their relevant services and needs, enabling businesses in providing better services and products with the information they gather, and helping businesses narrow down on more accurate target markets and demographics. Although the advantages in consumer profiling mainly fall under benefits for businesses, there are other advantages for the consumer, as relevant advertising is far more accessible. Disadvantages of consumer profiling include the following. Many consumers are uncomfortable with the accessibility of their information to businesses. It risks the exposure of private customer information, which may fall into the wrong hands. And businesses are learning far more about their consumers, where they can take advantage on a subliminal level. There have been algorithms of facial recognition technology developed to fuse two faces of your closest friends to pitch you an advertisement that will subconsciously appeal to you. Google has also been accused and fined several times for the invasion of privacy, seen in their trouble with the Street View feature, spying users' Gmail accounts, and tracking searches through Safari. Recently, after purchasing Nest, a company which sells Wi-Fi controlled home heating appliances, Google has been accused of colonizing the networks wiring our lives. By tapping into this technology, Google could have the ability to track your movements, have access to your Wi-Fi IP address, and allow for further spying as the Internet of Things takes over in the 21st century. In 2015, Spotify introduced a new privacy policy, with users required to agree that all their information would be collected, including photos, media files, address book, GPS details, and sensor data to be shared with third parties. Why would a music company need all this personal information? There was widespread outrage at the vaguely worded policy. However, Spotify released an official statement clarifying that they would ask for permission before accessing any data, and that the purpose was to provide for a more customized Spotify experience. In August 2016, WhatsApp changed its terms of service to share phone numbers, profile data, status messages, and online status with its parent company, Facebook. This change is activated by default, with more than 1 billion users only having 30 days to opt out of the data sharing. To defend themselves, WhatsApp stated that the sharing of this data is necessary to test out new features and that the messages will still be encrypted and therefore unreadable by staff. However, companies like Dropbox, Microsoft, Apple, Yahoo, Facebook, and Skype have been accused of doing very similar things. So what do you think? Is a customized experience with a service worth letting them access your personal information? What is worth risking your privacy? Where do you draw the line? It's getting more and more difficult to remain anonymous online. Privacy is an increasingly complex argument that ranges from concerns about advertising to public safety. As we progress further with technology, social media, social marketing, and an increasing dependence on the online world, the issue of privacy and its debate will evolve, and it will be very interesting to see where it leads. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We're Team Privates. Stay safe.